This is where we left off in the notes yesterday, hopefully. Looking at, hold on, I want to make sure, I'm trying to follow along so that way I don't skip over something completely too crazy. Alright, so species richness versus evenness is something that we're going to look at here. This map tells you a total number of species. So up in the northern, you have like 71 to 107 average species. I think I cut off the rest of this information, but it's like based on, I think, a square mile, maybe, if I remember correctly. To where you're down in like the coastal areas. Remember yesterday I said whenever you have a lotter, you're going to have a lot more diverse ecosystems typically. And so it kind of shows that here along the coast, you get over 200, easily 200 whatever species in a specific area. Like I said, I think it's a square mile. So it definitely varies throughout the US, it varies throughout the world, to where evenness is slightly different. So it's the abundance of individuals within each species. And the word even, like the same amount, applies here. So it's pretty easy to take that one at its word. So it's a couple different ways we can measure diversity. One is how many different species are there versus how even are the species. Like, do we have 10 species with only one representative and then one that has 800? Or do we have like 25 of 5 different species? So that's kind of the difference between the two. And your picture in the notes kind of shows it a little bit as well, even though it's kind of divided in half. Like richness, there's a lot of different species. Evenness, it's a few species, but an even amount. All right. So in this one right here, Community 1 or Community 2, which one would you say is more diverse? You can throw your answer in the chat or say it out loud. I don't care. So quiet. Community 1 or Community 2, which one do you think is more diverse?
Community 1.
All right, Leland says Community 1. Who else is going to agree or disagree with Leland? All right, Jesus agrees with
I
you.
agree with Leland.
All right. So we got a few people saying Community 1. Everyone's leaving Community 2 out. How sad. So kind of a trick question. Each forest would be considered equally diverse if we go by species richness. They both have 4 organisms of trees that we're looking at. However, if we look at species evenness, then yes, you are correct. Community 1 is way more diverse than Community 2. That looks almost like a really bad Christmas tree farm. All right. This one right here. Community A or Community B?
You said what?
Which one is more diverse, Community A or Community B?
Community B.
I agree.
Yeah, I like it. The more people talk, the less I have to pull out the wheel of names. Good catch, Jesus. So, let me click this. So they do at least both have, I knew what you meant, but that's good you added that. Community A has the abundance of 1 species relative to the other one, so it does have the 4 species still, just like the bottom one, but just like the trees on the previous one, this one has a high evenness of species. So there's a couple different, we'll probably get into some of this math tomorrow, and yes, it sucks, and we will, is this in our notes? The titles of the indices. So this index, Shannon-Weiner diversity function is, and then the name of the second one is on the next page. I'm not going to have you write all of this down. One, you have this to refer to, but if and when we do an assignment on this, I will have that formula within the assignment for you, because it'll be the one time in your life you might calculate it. And unless you become a population biologist, you'll never look at this again, other than having to know what its function is. But here's the fancy equation. It definitely gives some people nightmares like me. The higher the H prime value, the more diverse it is. So it's just like on a positive number scale. And then if it's close to 0, not very diverse. If it's really high, it's more diverse. There's not really a cap to it. That's the glory of science. If you make something up and write it down, it kind of gets counted as is. And then the number of species in the community and the proportion of the abundance is put in there as part of the function. And you have your natural log and your sum of all this information and up to infinity, and it's ridiculous. Like I said, if we do this, we're going to do it once and call it quits, because it's not that fun. Yes, I'll talk about that in a little bit after the notes, KK. All right, and the second indice or index, depending on if it's primary or plural or singular, is the Simpsons. Oh, I forgot to. Oh, never mind. I thought I put the name on there. It's the Simpsons index. That's why I put Lisa and Homer Simpson on there. The answers for this index range from 0 to 1, 0 meaning no diversity, 1 meaning very, very high diversity. Again, if we do this math, it'll be one time. I haven't decided which one we're going to do. I think this one's a little bit easier to understand, but they both use the same information, and they both just found different ways of representing how diverse an ecological community is. So you have the Shannon-Weiner index and you have the Simpson index, are your two indices that we'll look at one of them tomorrow. Okay, so that was the end of this section of notes. So close out of that really quick. KK's asking, so I'm going to say it before I forget. Yes, today, AP t-shirt team meeting. For those of you that were interested, I have your names up here of everyone who told me that is. And then this meeting, some dates down there. You guys do have access to edit this. So do know if you need to add something in, you can. But yeah, so we'll meet at 3:30. And I put it at 3:30 so that way if you were in class and had to, take the bus home, you'd have time. But obviously that's not happening this week. And I'm not sure will be happening for a very long time. So that will be today at 3:30, hopefully. If you would like to, yes, I will definitely add you to it. Not a problem. Okay, so that is that. That's at 3:30, and I can call the people too, like I was trying to last time. I had to laugh because only the boys showed up. All the girls bailed on me. All right. So I put up 2 assignments for today. Not that they both need to be done today, okay? But I did want to explain it because I wanted to give you guys time to do it because it was going to take time outside of this class period. And the first one is the biodiversity survey. So it's basically like giving yourself a little bit of a nature walk, whether that nature walk takes place in your backyard or a local park or whatever it may be. If you did want to go outside of your home boundary, I at least wanted to give you a little bit of time to do it, and maybe plan for like one of the warmer days of this upcoming week so you didn't have to walk outside in what was like 24-degree weather this morning. So it is take a walk around, backyard, park, something. Observe the rules. Don't litter. We're all about this whole mask and 6 foot distance. All of that now. Bring your own water bottle because I don't want to be responsible for you being like dropping, dead of dehydration or something because you decided to hike Pikes Peak to go do your survey. If you go somewhere that's a little more wild, like if you were to do like Red Rocks or something, make sure somebody's with you because there are bears and mountain lions out there, and Colorado does have ticks, so don't get those. But it's pretty off season for those. Don't have a phone, some sort of a camera, or you can even take pictures with your laptop. You do have that option. You just pull up the camera app with your laptop. Same way I can see your beautiful face. It is awkward. So I guess if you do it in your backyard, it's not so bad. But you're no worse than all the people that bring like iPads places to videotape. So it is what it is. So the whole idea is you go and you take pictures. To be honest with you, the more the better, because if you get back into your nice, comfy, warm living room with a cup of hot chocolate and realize that all your pictures came out blurry or half of them, whatever. So the more you take, probably the better. You can always delete them later. And then you're going to add them down into this table below, and then you're going to identify them. I threw up a couple apps. Google Image, so even if you're on your laptop, Google Image, you can search images and try and find things that way. PlantNet is one that I've used a lot. iNaturalist, a lot of people use too. It's pretty busy, and you can like ask people, hey, identify this for me, and they do. So 10 observations, you're always welcome to do more. I've also included, this is what I was doing this morning, searching around the internet for resources for you. This is the only one I really found for animals in the Colorado area. Rare plants, wetland plants. This is the link to like the app instead of the PDFs. Wildflowers and trees and plants. This is an actual book, but it is all in black and white, so that is the downside. But Google Image is pretty good for searching, so hopefully that part's not too bad. And the first couple are going to be pretty rough, so just bear with it. Identification, hopefully you guys all remember from biology, the classification system. Did King Philip come over for good spaghetti? The domain, kingdom, phylum, and so on. All right, so you're going to look for those first ones, and I'll be honest with you, you won't hear this out of a lot of the teachers. Wikipedia is actually a really good resource for that. They have a really good classification system set up for genus, species stuff.
But Miss,
Yeah,
Wikipedia, anybody can change that.
they can. I know that. But it is actually a really good resource for the classification. It's not something people are vindictive and go in and change. Drew Brees currently owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Brady sucks, right? So it's not like one of those things that people are going in and changing very often. Nobody really cares about classification systems. But it does lay it out really nicely. Look for at least 2 interactions between organisms. So that could be like a predator-prey, or like commensalism, something along those lines. You may have to research it. That's part of one of the questions down here. And then look for examples of nutrient cycles in action. So think back to your carbon, your nitrogen, phosphorus, whatever cycles, and try and apply it to some of the organisms you find. Bonus challenge for some bonus points, finding like organisms in each of these classifications. It will be a little bit harder considering the temperatures, but I'll totally award some bonus points for that. So like I said, this isn't due until next week. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of time to prep yourself for it if you needed to want to wait for a slightly warmer day, that type of thing. Is there any questions on this? including plants.
What?
Nija asked in the chat, living things, including, or not including plants, just anything living that you can identify. And you might not get, I will say this, you might not get down to a species, you might only get a genus. So do keep that in mind, that you might not get super, super specific. And that's okay, sometimes it happens. Or you won't be able to identify the species until springtime or something like that. Yep, exactly, Nyaja. The closer up pictures you do take of organisms, disclaimer, don't take up a close picture of a bear or anything like that, but the closer up you can get, the easier it will be for you to get back to your house and like identify them, if you're not doing it on the spot. Like a day like today, I probably would not identify outside. I would run indoors and then use my phone. But if it's a warmer day, I might be out there doing it at the same time. So that's this part. You have the weekend to do it. I think I have it set on Monday, and we'll talk about Monday. I think I talked about it with you guys already a little bit, but I got a little more information on it. Anything leaving the outdoors, yeah, as long as you're not like inside your house, like taking pictures of like your brothers and sisters and like trying to identify them as idiots or something, we're good. Don't do that.
I identify myself as a living organism.
You don't count. We already know you. All right. You can use these or not use these again. That's totally up to you. But if you only get plants, you might. An easy thing to catch around here, animal-wise, are insects. It's easy to catch birds.
Don't forget dandelions.
Yeah. Those are easy ones to catch. I have like a gazillion rabbits in my neighborhood. I will give them all to you. KK's totally right with the squirrels. We actually have a few different species of squirrels here. One specifically is native and one specifically is from Europe. When they came over in the 1500s, whatever, they brought squirrels with them. So you will definitely run into some of those as well. Plants are pretty easy though, especially if they have more distinct leaves or something like that. You'd be amazed at how many types of grasses there are though, so don't put yourself in that headache. Oops. So identification, the difference between that and classification, this would be like a dandelion, or it is a black squirrel or something like that, and this is going to be its actual classification. So it can be a mixture of animal and plants, absolutely. That would be preferred.
Okay.
But like I said, I do understand the time of year, and it might not work in the favor of super diverse things. Not to mention, we're not the most diverse part of the state to begin with. Good questions. All right. So that's the t-shirt meeting, the biodiversity survey. I have that set as due Monday, so you have the weekend if you want to do it. Monday, remember, we do not have any class. Anyone who is not a senior is taking that practice PSAT. I will be offering extra credit for it. If you send me the screenshot, I'll publish that stuff here soon. But seniors, we've been told it's like a makeup day for you. So get your work done. Nobody will be assigning you work that day from any class, not just this class. The next thing that I'm going to give you guys the last like 20 something minutes to work on, it's not that long. I don't think I went through it this morning. It's one PSAT class, Nyaja. So, or not one class, it's one PSAT. So it's not every class you're doing the same thing. It's going to be the one like we did in September, where it was like from Khan Academy. And then like if myself and your English teacher and your math teacher offer extra credit for it, you take that one PSAT thing, submit it to all three of us, and you get extra credit in all your classes for doing one thing. Yes, it'll be on Monday. You're welcome.
And that's only one test for that one day.
Yeah. So it's not like you're going to be going to your math class and taking a math test, and then English class and you take the English test, and then you come to science and you take a writing test. It's not going to be like that. It's just you do the practice test, and then if your teacher wants to give you extra credit or whatever for it, then you submit that screenshot, because I know they're going to ask for it. So, I'll give you the directions. When I publish the module on the PSAT stuff, it'll have the directions in it, what to do, where to go, all of that. So I'll have a spot for it. Oh, really? It's going to do this to me today? Okay, so apparently your link doesn't work. I swear I copied and pasted right, but apparently I did not. All right, so today is a little bit of diversity, a little bit of keystone species, and a little bit of why it's important to survey things from multiple aspects. Especially with all the political stuff going on, it kind of does the same thing as in regards to like approach and how you represent your data. So you guys are going to read about some why study elephants, and you're going to look at the African forest and what's the other type of elephants? I'm spacing out now. The forest, and there's like elephants that are in the plains. I forget the two names. But you're going to look at species, you're going to look at different types of surveys and kind of give some pros and cons to each one, dissecting their poop type of thing. And so it walks you through a few different ways to collect data and the goods and the bad parts about them. Apparently my link I copied wrong as far as hyperlinking, but it is the correct address, so you can copy and paste that, and then you just launch interactive. If you haven't used any of the HHMI before, I absolutely love it. So you're going to work through how they survey and why they study the elephants in Africa, and you'll go through and like look at maps and things like that. So I think it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I did it in less than a class period this morning, or about a class period this morning, playing around with it. So I'm going to shut up and allow you guys to work for like the last 20 minutes of class. You currently only have one DOL, and I posted it yesterday, but we didn't finish the notes, so you'll still be able to go to it the rest of the week. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information, but this is your actual assignment for today. We'll probably work on some math tomorrow. Don't click on the link, copy and paste it, and click launch. And you guys are good.